Before we get started on today's video, I want to draw your attention to a draw that we are doing on this channel. If you sign up to become a patron of Kertrats Productions for $5 or more before midnight Eastern Time, January 30th, you will be entered in a draw for Star Trek Discovery Season 1 on Blu-ray. As of right now, there aren't many entries, so please sign up and get in on this. Hey Star Trek fans, Dan Gunther here. There's been a lot of news with Star Trek, especially with regards to Star Trek on television over the last few days, so I thought I'd better make a video and kind of recap some of the top stories over the past few days. First off, just yesterday, CBS confirmed that the long-rumored Section 31 spin-off series is in fact coming to CBS All Access. The series will center around the Black Ops organization Section 31, with the lead character played by Michelle Yeoh, the mirror Philippa Georgiou spun off from Star Trek Discovery. According to the CBS press release, the series will expand on Yeoh's current role as a member of Starfleet's Section 31 Division, a shadow organization within the Federation on Star Trek Discovery. As we know from the trailers for Season 2 of Discovery, Michelle Yeoh will play a significant role in this coming season of that new television show, with her character having taken a role in Section 31 and doing some sort of Black Ops type missions. To me, one of the most exciting things about this announcement is that the series will be written and executive produced by writing partners Bo-yeon Kim and Erica Leipold, responsible for some of my favorite content in Star Trek Discovery. Executive producer Alex Kurtzman had this to say: "Michelle has shattered ceilings, broken boundaries, and astonished us with her grace and gravitas for decades. As a human, I adore her. As an actor, I revere her. Erica and Bowie are remarkable, exciting writers who bring a fresh perspective to the world of Star Trek, and we're all thrilled to explore this next wild chapter in the life of Captain Philippa Georgiou." Michelle Yeoh had this to say: "I'm so excited to continue telling these rich Star Trek stories. Being a part of this universe and this character specifically has been such a joy for me to play. I can't wait to see where it all goes. Certainly I believe it will go where no woman has ever gone before." I'm definitely excited to get another Star Trek series with a female lead and an Asian lead, which is something that we've never seen in Star Trek before. The series has that in the definite positive column, as well as Michelle Yeoh herself, an amazing actress who brought a lot of really great stuff to her role, both as Captain Philippa Georgiou and her Mirror Universe counterpart. I am somewhat skeptical about a character who has been portrayed as primarily evil before being the protagonist of the series, as well as the fact that Section 31 and Black Ops kind of seems to go a little bit against what the core of Star Trek has traditionally been about. However, I'm willing to have my mind changed, and these two writers especially, I feel, will do a great job in possibly bringing me around. So, Bo-yeon Kim, Erica Leipold, convince me. As yet, the series has no title or release date, but we'll bring you those as soon as they're known. Recently, The Hollywood Reporter interviewed Alex Kurtzman, who is kind of the keymaster for all things Star Trek on television these days. Specifically, he talked a bit about the upcoming Picard series due to begin airing at the end of 2019. In the interview, he revealed that a key event that kicked off the 2009 Star Trek film plays a role in Picard's life. Quote, "Picard's life was radically altered by the dissolution of the Romulan Empire." Kurtzman is, of course, referring to the supernova that destroyed Romulus in the Prime universe of Star Trek 2009. This has led to a bit of confusion online, with a lot of people worrying that this will muddy the waters between the Kelvin timeline and the Prime timeline. However, those of you who follow the movie closely will realize that the supernova and the destruction of Romulus occurs in the Prime timeline before Spock and Nero cross over into the Kelvin timeline. It's not known yet how this event affected the life of the presumably former captain, but I, along with all of you, really look forward to finding that out later this year. The other big Star Trek television announcement came from that same interview with The Hollywood Reporter, specifically a number of new Star Trek television products that were previously unannounced. In the interview, Alex Kurtzman revealed that the 4-chapter Star Trek Short Treks project will continue after Discovery has finished its second season later this spring. Interestingly, he mentions that the upcoming Short Treks after Discovery Season 2 will be animated. I personally like the idea of short treks doing animated installments. I've always thought that it would be cool if short treks expanded outside of just relating to Discovery and instead related also to the wider Star Trek universe. And if you do it in an animated style, you don't have to build sets to look like the Enterprise D or Deep Space Nine or Voyager or something like that. If you want to, you can just get voice talent and do them in an animated style. I have no idea if this is in fact what is being planned, but I would be really excited to see parts of the Star Trek universe that we have visited in the past be revisited through animation. Kurtzman also spoke about Lower Decks, the upcoming animated television series on CBS All Access. Lower Decks is totally different from anything we're doing on any of these other shows, and we decided to tell that story and make those people the heroes. It's embracing and loving all of the tropes of Star Trek, but it's never laughing at it. Kurtzman also talked about the fact that there is a second animated Star Trek series in the works. This one is not adult-oriented as Lower Decks is, but instead is apparently geared towards a younger audience. There are very few details available about what exactly is being planned with regards to this series, but as soon as we know any more news, we will of course bring that to you. Moving now to Star Trek film news, there's been a few developments in the realm of the Star Trek 4 project that director S.J. Clarkson had been tapped to direct. You may remember last year that Chris Pine and Chris Hemsworth walked away from Paramount Pictures' offered salaries with some rocky negotiations taking place, and the outlook for Star Trek 4 seemed to be troubled at best. Now, Deadline has reported that the planned director for the film, S.J. Clarkson, has been tapped to direct the pilot for HBO's planned Game of Thrones prequel, saying that the Star Trek 4 project, quote, has been shelved. It looks as though this project may be dead in the water at the moment, but if we do hear anything, we will be sure to bring you news as soon as we learn it. Hopefully something will get back on track for the Star Trek film franchise soon. And finally, in the realm of Star Trek novels, we have a bit of new news regarding releases coming out in 2019. First is an announcement of a new Star Trek Discovery novel coming at the end of July. This is Star Trek Discovery: The Enterprise War by New York Times bestselling author John Jackson Miller. There's no cover art yet, but we do have a back cover blurb. Hearing of the outbreak of hostilities between the United Federation of Planets and the Klingon Empire, Captain Christopher Pike attempts to bring the USS Enterprise home to join in the fight. But in the hellish nebula known as the Pergamum, the stalwart commander instead finds an epic battle of his own, pitting ancient enemies against one another, with not just the Enterprise, but her crew as the spoils of war. Lost and out of contact with Earth for an entire year, Pike and his trusted First Officer, Number 1, struggle to find and reunite the ship's crew, all while Science Officer Spock confronts a mystery that puts even his exceptional skills to the test, with more than their own survival possibly riding on the outcome. On his website, John Jackson Miller has stated that this novel will reveal what the Enterprise was up to during the Klingon War of Discovery's first season. The Enterprise War is John Jackson Miller's first Star Trek novel since his terrific Prey trilogy back in 2016. I'm definitely looking forward to this one. The Enterprise War is set to be released on July 30th. There are also 2 new covers that have been recently revealed. Star Trek The Original Series, The Captain's Oath, is set to be released on May 28th of 2019. Here's the back cover blurb. The saga of James T. Kirk's historic command of the USS Enterprise is known throughout the galaxy, but one part of the legend has barely been touched upon until now: the story of Kirk's first starship command and the remarkable achievements by which Starfleet's youngest captain earned the right to succeed Christopher Pike as the commander of the famous Enterprise. From his early battles with the Klingons to the rescue of endangered civilizations, Kirk grapples with difficult questions. Is he a warrior or a peacemaker? Should he obey regulations or trust his instincts? This thrilling novel illustrates the events and choices that would shape James T. Kirk into one of the most renowned captains in Starfleet history. The Captain's Oath is written by Christopher L. Bennett, and as the blurb says, it will focus on Kirk's career before taking command of the Enterprise, specifically his first command of a destroyer-type ship. And later in the year, August 13th sees the release of another TOS novel, The Antares Maelstrom by Greg Cox. We've already had the blurb out for a while, but the cover was just released as well. To remind you, here's the back cover blurb. The final frontier erupts into chaos as vast quantities of a rare energy source are discovered beneath the surface of Baldur III, a remote planet beyond the outer fringes of Federation space. Now an old-fashioned gold rush is underway as a flood of would-be prospectors from countless worlds and species races towards the planet to stake their claim. The galactic stampede threatens the stability of neighboring planets and space stations as widespread strife and sabotage and all-around pandemonium result in a desperate need for Starfleet assistance. Captain James T. Kirk and the crew of the Starship Enterprise are dispatched to deal with the escalating crisis, which lies on the other side of a famously perilous region of space known as the Antares Maelstrom. The Antares Maelstrom is written by New York Times best-selling author Greg Cox and is due out on August 13th. I'll have links to all of these books in the description below. You can pre-order from Amazon, and using those links helps out the channel, so I really appreciate it. Well, thank you all so much for watching. Lots of news in the past week, and probably a lot more to come as we get closer to Star Trek Discovery Season 2, which of course airs in just a couple of days. I will of course have reviews of the new episodes as they come out, so keep an eye out for that. Thanks again to the Patreon supporters, I really do appreciate it. And please, if you want to get in on that draw for Star Trek Discovery Season 1 on Blu-ray, make sure to sign up as a supporter on Patreon for $5 or more before the end of January. Thank you again so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next video. Until then, live long and prosper.